Hi guys, I'm Shreya and this is Decoding Code. For the past few weeks, we've been just going through exercises in order to best experience and learn how and when to use your code. So this video will kind of be like that. We will be focusing on nesting loops though, so if you're interested in learning about how to do that and how to use that in your code, then this is the right place for you. And we will be doing an exercise, so I hope that you guys can join me in that because it's very beneficial to actually experience and do that for yourself. So let's just get right into the exercise. So if you direct your attention to the console, here you will see I enter a positive integer, 5, and then it's giving me a 5 by 5 multiplication table. And the formatting here is I have like 3 spaces between the numbers, a tab between each row, and there are these like lines here. So if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. That's just kind of extra to make it look good. Yeah, that is the exercise. Hopefully you can do that now and come back when you're done. You can pause it now and do that. But yeah, okay, now we're going to actually go through the code and look at the nesting loops and see how that works. So I'm making an object of the reverse int, and basically in my other video I actually just made this method and it's just getting a number from the user that has no errors, and so I just made an object of that class in order to access that method because I don't want to write all of that code all over again. And then since I need a positive integer for this exercise, I take that number, and if it's less than 0 or negative, then I just multiply it by -1 to make it positive. I'll go over all of this later because that is just the formatting stuff, and we really don't need to know about that right now. But for right now, we'll just go over the actual multiplication table and the nesting for loops. So here, in order to go through, so I have one number and I want to go through that number kind of twice because there's two like sides to this table and I want to multiply each number by the other one and put it into a table. So that's why we need to nest the for loops. So here I have the integer row, and I'm setting row to 1 because that's always going to be my first number, and row will be less than or equal to size, and then each time row is increasing by 1. So here, this is another formatting thing. I'm just printing the row number plus a little line, and that's pretty simple. So that's going to go through each row, but I also want to go through each column. So I'm doing the same thing except with an integer column, and then what I do is I set a value equal to row times column. So each time it'll go through the row, and for each row it'll go through one of the numbers of the column and multiply all of those out. So for example, in the first one it'll be 1, and then the column will also be 1, so it multiplies those, and then this becomes 1. So it just keeps going like that. The next one is 2. What I do here is if the value is less than 10, I want there to be 3 spaces, I believe, and then if it's greater than 10 or in the double or triple digits, I just want there to be 2 spaces because that way the last numbers line up and it's kind of like a good square shape. So that's another formatting thing. So now we can actually just go through these because hopefully you understood the nesting for loops. So first of all, this row number and line, we can just put that in this for loop since each row it'll do that for each row, but for the top you can't really do that, and so what I did is a whole different thing. So for the top numbers, so I just printed out, here's a multiplication table, and then I'm printing a bunch of spaces to make up for this space here because for the row number it needs space, and then to begin the chart it needs some space. And then what I'm going to do is add another for loop, and what I do there is for every number of the size, I'm just printing it out plus some spaces until the next one. So that's all I'm doing, and then that's just a line there, and and yeah, and then I print ln, and then I'm just basically printing nothing because I just want a new line. So then it adds another line after that, and this line is actually, these horizontal dashes here are actually another for loop. So what I did there is I basically did the same thing as the numbers, except I just added a bunch of dashes. So it's going through each number of the size and each like kind of column of the size, and it's adding a certain number of dashes to make up for kind of each number. I just kind of eyeballed it. It doesn't really matter, but I feel like this fits the best. So, oh, and also, after this, each column, I printed out this println and \n, so it's like double spaced. And so there you go. I just created a simple multiplication table, and it looks pretty nice. Let me just run it once more. So if I put something like E, it tells me to do it again. Correct. And then if I do something like 10, even if I do a big number like 10, it'll give me the whole table, and it's actually pretty nice. So here we have my entire multiplication table, which is pretty nice. So I hope you guys were able to follow along and learn something about nesting loops from this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Every week I'm pretty much just doing exercises and how to put basic concepts into your actual code and learn how and when and where to use them. I hope you guys had a good day, and I hope you guys can have a good week. Bye!